In a stunning and unprecedented decision, the UK Supreme Court has delivered a ruling that directly challenges Prime Minister Keir Starmer's policies on the European Union and Ukraine, sending shockwaves through Westminster. Legal analysts are calling it one of the most significant rulings in modern British history, casting serious doubt over Starmer's leadership and the way critical decisions have been made behind closed doors. At the heart of the controversy lies Starmer's approach to EU relations, which has long drawn criticism from those who believe he's quietly working to reverse the Brexit outcome, despite his public commitments to respect the 2016 referendum. Critics have accused the Prime Minister of engaging in covert discussions with EU officials aimed at reintegrating the UK into select EU frameworks, discussions that allegedly took place without transparency or a public mandate. Leaked documents had already suggested such negotiations were underway, but the Supreme Court's ruling adds legal weight to those suspicions, indicating that Starmer may have overstepped his constitutional authority. The decision implies a breach of national sovereignty and a disregard for parliamentary oversight, two cornerstones of British democratic governance. The ruling extends beyond just the EU issue, casting a harsh spotlight on Starmer's foreign policy decisions involving Ukraine. According to materials reviewed during the proceedings, significant financial and military commitments were made to Ukraine without securing parliamentary consent. These actions have raised urgent questions about the legality of the Prime Minister's decision-making and whether it aligns with the UK's democratic processes. With billions in taxpayer money reportedly at stake, the public and political response has been swift and fierce, with mounting demands for accountability. The fallout from the ruling is shaking the foundations of the Labour Party. Opposition leaders are calling for an immediate parliamentary inquiry into Starmer's conduct, demanding full transparency about the government's dealings with both the EU and Ukraine. Inside the Labour Party, the situation is growing more unstable, with dissenting MPs openly questioning the Prime Minister's direction. Several have already resigned in protest, citing concerns about leadership, secrecy, and the erosion of parliamentary norms, all of which are intensifying the internal discord. As discontent simmers within his own party and public outrage continues to grow, Starmer faces a deeply uncertain future. Legal experts suggest this ruling could lead to further court challenges, significant policy reversals, or even calls for his resignation. The pressure is building with each passing day, and the coming weeks may determine not only the survival of his leadership but also the future of his government. Whether Starmer can withstand this political storm remains unclear, but one thing is certain: the Supreme Court's decision has reshaped the course of British politics in a dramatic and irreversible way. In a dramatic turn of events, the UK Supreme Court has taken final action that could change the course of Prime Minister Keir Starmer's leadership. The court's ruling targets Starmer's alleged secret agenda to rekindle ties with the European Union, moves critics say were made behind closed doors and without public or parliamentary approval. Despite his promises to respect the Brexit vote, leaked documents suggest Starmer had been holding undisclosed talks with EU officials, aiming to reintegrate the UK into certain frameworks of the Union. Now, the Supreme Court has ruled that such actions may have breached constitutional principles, particularly concerning national sovereignty and the limits of executive power. But it doesn't stop there. The ruling also exposes serious concerns about the government's financial and military commitments to Ukraine, which, according to the court, were made without full parliamentary oversight. With billions of taxpayer funds on the line and trust in democratic processes shaken, calls for accountability are intensifying. Political tensions are soaring within Labour, with MPs resigning and the party facing internal chaos. As the fallout unfolds, the big question remains: will Keir Starmer survive this crisis, or is this the beginning of the end for his leadership?